So my name is Maria Arroyo. I'm a singer-songwriter out of the Philly area. I've been singing since I could talk, probably before I could talk. And I've been writing songs probably since about middle school, high school. And I picked up the piano in high school, learning in one of my classes. And then I went to college at Millersville and got my degree in music. And here we are, still singing, still songwriting, working full time, and it's a good life. Launch is a music conference and festival based out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. But essentially the reason that it was created was by Jeremy Weiss, and he is the founder of CI Records. And he loves the networking of the music industry, loves meeting new artists, new bands, and kind of bridging the gap between industry professionals and musicians, so that way we can all work together and collectively just create a better community in the music world. So he brings different panelists in various areas of the music industry and brings them together so that way they can ask those questions, get those answers, but also create those meaningful relationships that prosper people into their future and their careers. Because the biggest thing in this industry is just connections. Like, you cannot do anything if people don't know who you are and who you've worked with. Now, I didn't even know Launch existed when I was living in Lancaster. I went to my first conference in Harrisburg, and then that's how I started to open myself up to this music industry, business meets the artist world, and that's how I got into conferences. So this past launch that we just had was my first time performing. So it was a very memorable experience for me, not only because it was back in my hometown, but I could share it with all the people that I've been networking with for the past couple years. They got to see me do exactly what I've been wanting to do with the rest of my life and put it into action, and I just got nothing but support and love. I submitted, it was like the day before the last day's submission to submit to play for Launch, and I almost didn't do it. I was like, I don't have anything that's perfectly recorded. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I was like, you know what? The worst that happens is they say no, and it's not like anybody knew you submitted. So I fixed up my recording really quick. I submitted it, and I was like, all right, we're just gonna hope and pray for the best. So I get an email on my way to work that is like, attention, launch something. And I was like, nope, it's probably not it. It can't be it. So I waited to, I read all the rest of my emails, and I opened this email, and it says, you've been selected to play for Launch. And I literally, and mind you, I was taking the bus for work. I am in tears, sobbing on this public transit, completely in awe that I've been selected to play for Launch. I was like, this has to be a scam. There's no way. This is the first performance I'll ever do. I don't have a whole lot of videos. I don't have like published songs out there because I've been holding myself back from creating those things. So I'm like, there's no way. There's just no way. So I open it. I call my fiance. He's the first call I make. I'm like, I got into Launch, and he's quietly screaming because he's at work. And he's like, you did it. I was like, yeah, I did. So now what? Now I have to prepare to do all these things that, I'm so excited to do. So I figured out my set list. I pretty much picked all the songs that I was going to put for my EP that I'm working on to release in this upcoming year, which all creates a very vital story to kind of celebrate who I am, how I'm here. And so these songs mean a lot to me emotionally, because there was a lot of work that went into into creating the music. So I was like, well, I have a 30-minute set, about 5 songs puts it, at a good time to talk and chit chat and things like that. So that works. Great, I have my set list. Friday morning comes as the start of the panels for the industry kickoff of the conference. So I went to every panel I could go to. This year was a little bit different. We had a lot of new faces, which was ideal and fantastic. A lot of new artists, which I've never seen before. So just chit-chatting. Now I'm here, not just as an attendee, but as an artist. I was like, Maria, you're actually playing. I was like, yes, I know, it's exciting. So I have all my friends, all my family that are local coming out to support me. I'm feeling it the first day. I'm like, I feel a little bit of nerves, but it's not my day to perform yet. So just enjoy it. Just soak in all the panels like you always do. See your friends, take pictures, have a good time. And then Saturday rolls around. And I am like, all right, I'm not feeling it as much in the morning. I'm like, I still have some time for my set. I get to about like noon, 1 o'clock. I'm like, there it is. I feel it. I feel it in the pit of my stomach. I'm like, today's performance day. So, I take a break from some of the panels. I go and mentally get myself prepared. I'm warming up. I'm getting ready, all these things. And around 5 o'clock rolls around, and that's around load-in time to bring in the keyboard and all of my other stuff. So I'm I'm sitting there and I'm like, all I'm doing is singing in my head, just like, oh my gosh, it's happening. Like, I'm literally going to be performing my songs in less than an hour for people that know me, don't know me, in the middle of a very busy, very public area, which is great. But I am so nervous. I was expressing to my friends, I was like, I feel pregnant with my nerves. Like, could absolutely explode at this point. But Zook, who is one of the people who put some of the panelists together, she was actually the reason that I submitted to launch in the first place. She was like, you know, a good way to get, you know, deal with the nerves and anxiety is to accept and realize that they're there. And all you can do is just say, hey, you know, I feel that you're here. Maybe come back at another time. You know, this is not the time I want you to come out. But just take a big, deep breath and just do it. You've been practicing for months. You know these songs like the back of your head. You know how to sing. You know how to play. Just put them together and just have a good time. So we're setting up for sound check. We start going through the songs, and it's just like time feels like it's moving so fast, but moving so slow and nothing's happening. But as I'm going through all of my songs, there are more and more people pulling into this lobby. I'm like, and there's a live feed of me performing all of my songs. Whenever a song stopped and started again, I was just cracking up, just out of nerves at the fact that there were so many people just there to support me. Mind you, again, there are 4 or 5 other artists going on around me at bigger stages, at actual venues. I'm sitting in a lobby with my keyboard and my voice, and I've captured everyone's attention at this point. Like 40, 50 people just sitting there watching me, like performing. And it's just, I was like, if I don't laugh, I'm gonna cry. About, you know, after like the 4th song, I was like, okay, you feel much better. You know, you're breathing. It's okay. I only have like 1 song left. But this song is is the song that I played last year for this panel, is the reason that I felt, you know, good enough to perform at this conference. So it's a song called It's Not in My Head. And it's about, you know, dealing with depression and mental illness, and being like, even though it's not a physical ailment that most people associate like pain with, that it's still just as valid, and it's still something that means, and it's important to me, and you have to take care of yourself mentally too. So to have it as the last song meant a lot to me. I cried at the very end. If anybody sees the video, I'm in tears at the very end. But music is a very cathartic, a very freeing feeling for me. So to share that and have people just amazed at what I was doing and getting that love in return as much as I was giving it back to the audience was, I can't even put it in words. It was just absolutely amazing feeling. That week after launch, so a really good friend told me it's really good to take a couple days after these very high intense, high energetic weekends to really like process what it is that you've experienced, process your feelings, your emotions, and all these things, because it's a lot. It's a lot of adrenaline going through. It's a lot of excitement. So eventually your body has to come back to a state of normalcy. So I took a couple days to do exactly that and decompress and get back into, I guess, normal life, if that makes sense. And I still felt very proud of myself. After all of that, I just felt extremely proud that I did what it is I wanted to do, and it came out with an absolutely amazing outcome. I could not be happier with the way that it turned out. Like, all the work that I put into it means something, because I'm able to share that, and people want to listen to what I have to say. And sometimes it can feel like the music industry and just the amount of music out there is just astronomical. There's just so much to take in. So sometimes it can feel like there's not a space for you to put your music out and create, but it's the exact opposite. There's so much room to put out your music, and people who are attached to it and appreciate it will latch onto you, and they will help you through your career as you continue. Since I was little, since I've been learning to write and knew that there was, you know, people that just write things or creative in that way, I've always used songwriting as a way to explain the world around me to myself, because it can be really hard, especially young, to process what's going on, not just in your immediate circle, but like also what's going on in the world. And obviously there are lots of things going on in the world right now that can feel very overbearing. So as a young child and moving into adulthood, I've always used music as a way to just understand, you know, my feelings in respect to other things happening. And I think the music just allows me to see that I've been at that space, I've accepted it, I've done things to get to a point where I can you know, I've made these decisions and I can do something to make my life better. And now I get to listen to the music as a way of just saying, hey, you're no longer in this dark space. So the song, It's Not in My Head, about mental illness and mental health and depression and anxiety, these are things that I had to deal with and I still actively am dealing with now. And writing the song made it so that way I could create a space for myself to say, you are valid in the way that you feel. Just because you're not the textbook version that people associate depression and anxiety with doesn't mean you are any less valid in the way that you're dealing with it. So yeah, you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook at maria.songwriter. Very easy, very simple. It's the same all throughout. I'm working on getting my website together and getting other aspects of my career together, so that way it makes it a little bit easier for you guys to find me as well. But I post covers, I post and tease some of my own music that I'm working on in the studio. So if you want to see what else is going on, what else I'm working on aside from the EP that I'm putting out with my producer, you check me out there. Appreciate you. And yeah, have a great day. That's it. That's all I got.